Hello everyone, pproteus here, back for another arena draft. Today we are doing Lord of the Rings. The set has been out for a little bit and I've been collecting trophies. It's time to talk about it. The first thing you need to know about this format is that this is probably the most color imbalanced format I've ever seen on an arena. Black is just the best color by, maybe not by the hugest margin, but it is far better than any normal color is supposed to be in a normal format. It seems like half of the drafters at a table should be black, and on the end of the spectrum, green is very clearly the worst draft in the format, where the worst color in the format, where it seems like you shouldn't be in green unless you were the only green drafter at a table, and even then, sometimes there are just no green cards worth taking because there are just no good green commons in the set, or at least no very good ones, whereas there are like 5 different premium black commons. So this pack had like a very good rare. This is 4-mana 4/4 haste that sometimes gives you an extra combat phase. Red is a very good color, so we don't have to worry about any of those. We definitely pass some very reasonable black cards like Lash the Balrog, like Urkai Berserker. All those are very good, but I think Aylmer both kind of excels over them, and also it's more fun because it is a legendary rare, so you know, I kind of want to do that. Second pack, if you wanted to stay open, you could definitely take Oliphant here. These 1-mana cyclers, 1-mana cycling is just broken. They're really good, even though as a 6-drop it's not spectacular, but I think I would rather have Voracious Fellbeast. This card is a lot of fun. It's a big, powerful 6-drop, and it's in black, because black is, it seems to me, always open. I really want to take black cards. In pack number 3 here, we got a little bit of a choice. There's a quite good black card, Easterling Vanguard. It's kind of a very good 2-drop, probably the best like tempo 2-drop in the format. And then we've also got Rohirrim Lancer, which is a 1-mana 1/1 menace. Kind of looks dopey, but when it dies, the ring tempts you, and when the ring tempts you is a very powerful mechanic in this set. The important thing to know about the ring tempting you is that you want to have kind of a whole bunch of these cards in your deck, where if you only have like 2 or 3, the ring tempting you is not going to be very good. But if you have like 6 or 7, then you're going to be able to get the ring to tempt you multiple times in the game consistently. And if you can do that, then that means when you play endgames, you're going to get to play the endgames with a looter, and that'll be pretty great for you. A important facet of ring tempting you being very good is that the best blue common is simply 1-mana cantrip. Ring tempt you, draw a card. It's a pretty good card. But we don't have to, if we're allowed to be in black-red, which is the de facto best deck, then I'm going to try. So I'm going to take Lancer over it, but just know I think this pack is pretty close. There's another like unplayable rare here. I don't really want to, you know, maybe I should be talking about every card in the pack, but there are just so many like unplayable cards, especially the high rarity cards. This format is just very, very driven by commons, because the best commons in the best colors are all really, really good. They're much better than the average commons and than the average uncommons and rares. And also my eyes gloss straight over all the green cards and most of the white cards, just because those cards are also pretty medium. Here is a pack where we have to now not take a great card. So there's a rare here. This rare is a land that is often worse than a mountain, but sometimes can tap to make treasure tokens. Not a huge fan, but yeah, I'd probably play it. There is a Breaking of the Fellowship. This is a removal spell. It says the ring tempts you, but it's like a removal spell for decks that like don't have enough removal spells. Like you make your opponent's things fight each other. So it's not good if you have a bunch of removal, because then your opponent's not going to have 2 great things on the board. But it's also like kind of situational. When is your opponent going to have 2 great things on the board? So I often like end up drafting this and then not playing it. I think I'm just going to take this rare. This is a kind of like fun looking card at least. I don't think I've activated this too many times. It's kind of hard to use because like once you've got a whole bunch of things in your graveyard and you can spend your turn tapping 5 lands to make treasures instead of casting spells, then what are you doing with those treasures anyways? But there are some like sacrifice themes where maybe you can throw them away for some other kind of value instead of trying to get tempo out of them. Next pack here, I see Sam's Desperate Retro. This is Raised Dead, except ring tempts you. The ring tempts you count is at 2, and the next best card is probably like Arwen's Gift, which is, you know, it's a scry 2, draw 2 for 4 mana. Those cards are always playable, but I remember back in the day, those used to be like the best blue common would be the would be the thing that's letting you draw 2 and scry for 4 mana, and now it's just why are we doing that? It's pretty medium. So I'm looking happy in my black-red deck. The best black-red card in here is the Spearmaster, which is definitely a card I play a bunch, but I also cut this from my black-red deck a bunch, so I think I'm going to kind of hedge a little bit and take Deceive the Messenger. Deceive the Messenger is like a, what's that card? The fungal, like the 1 mana, 1/1, make a 1/1 trick. It's kind of like that. That the name of that card is escaping me from Dominaria. It's kind of like that, except it's in blue, where blue often doesn't have a great way of dealing with small creatures. So it only works if their thing is attacking, but they're 1/1 attacks, or even they're 2/1 or 3/1, you just get to eat it. This pack is fairly terrible. We're going to take Land Draw and probably not play it because I assume white is not going to be open. But this is, I think, a reasonable card. It's very good if you're aggressive, because it gives your things flying. So like you have 2 things, one of which can attack profitably, the other one can't. And you play your eagle and you attack with both of them. You give the one that couldn't attack flying. And then next turn, you get to attack with Land Revolt and one other thing, and they both have flying too. I'm going to take Frodo Baggins. Frodo Baggins is a good card in terrible colors, and all those other cards in that pack were unplayable completely. Here we're going to take a Mary. I'm seeing that we're piling up some green cards. That is fascinating, and I'm drifting out of my comfort zone very rapidly. I'm just mostly pretending these cards don't exist, but it seems like black and red have not stayed super open throughout this pack. Not gonna lie. Would rather not play this card. I'm just gonna stick it on the board. Shortcut to Mushrooms, Rare Blade. These are just not cards I ever really want to consider. Mirror is not the worst. That guy's not the worst. So basically we're gonna have to choose between, we don't really have any fixing, so it's not looking like I'm gonna want to be a multicolor deck. So basically we're gonna have to choose between, maybe I just try to be black-red even though black-red's clearly not open, or maybe I try to be like some kind of white deck or some kind of green deck, because those look like they could be open even though those are not good at the best of times. So here we got an interesting choice to make. I think the best card in the pack is Haunt of Dead Marshes. This is a really powerful effect, because if you have a lot of ring tempting you, then you're going to have a lot of legendary creatures, so it's just always going to come back from your graveyard. When it comes back, you get to scry. There's a lot of sacrifice synergy, so I think that one's really good. If I was afraid of being black-red, which I'm not, I really want to do that, I would take Errand Rider, which is a 3-mana, 3/2 draw card. Essentially, again, I'm kind of assuming that if you want to have legends, you can get them. And that is probably the best common, or at the very least second best. Next pack, this is a strong one. So there's a rare here, War of the Last Alliance, which is, well, it's a weird card. You get to tutor 2 legendaries and then give your things double strike. And that there are some odd play patterns that this develops, but mostly it is odd because it depends on what legends you have. It's not just legends on the field that can be things that the ring is tempted. It's legends that are in your deck, so it depends on what you drafted, because there are no legends at common. I think I would definitely be happy to take this if I wanted to be a white deck. I think I don't want to do that. There's a Ranger's Firebrand, which is just shock, ring tempts you. Also Uruk-hai Berserker. All the ring tempts you creatures are just good cards. We're gonna take the shock, and I feel like I just don't need to branch out at all. I said that and sent this guy away. But here is a Saruman's Trickery. I think this is pretty wildly better than anything else in the pack. Aaron Rider, this guy's showing up again. It's a good card. It's a really good card. Maybe I should be taking it, but I'm just skeptical because white is not deep. White has a lot of very, very medium to bad cards. And I don't want to be taking white cards early in the pack because they're very liable to dry up, even though they didn't dry up in the previous pack. I think I am just going to take the Trickery. It's also a Quick Bean. Quick Bean is one of the strongest green uncommons. It's worth noting there was also a Shelob's Ambush, but I don't think I really have to, you know, try that hard to be the Shelob's Ambush deck. I think that card is replaceable, and the only reason I might want to value it super highly is because we are clearly doing poorly on the card depth thing. In this pack, I really want to point out Gandalf's Sanction, which I am not going to take, but maybe I should, and perhaps some of you watching will tell me that I should. So, the thing about Gandalf's Sanction, it is the most, like, polarizing in the sense of what you do when you draft cards, non-rares in the set, where it really matters when you have this in your spells deck. That's your win con. You don't need too many creatures. Whereas if you don't have it, then you have to figure out how to attack your opponent to death, or maybe the Fiery Inscription. But that thing could just like deal 10 damage in one shot, and as a result, you can build your deck quite differently. So it's very important to, you know, be aware of. I'm not going to take it because we only have a couple blue cards, a couple red cards. I don't want to take a gold card because I'm trying to stay open. I have cards in all 5 colors, which I really shouldn't be doing. I should be trying to be at least a little bit more responsible. But I'm doing a bad job of being responsible. I'm just like, show me the open colors. We're going to take this black card here because we are doing a good job of collecting black cards. And the next best card, or probably the Eagles, is slightly better than the than this card. But I don't really want to. I feel like I know I'm going to play black, so I might as well just take that card. Best card in this pack, I think, is the green Fight Spell. It's not bad at all. There's also a Protector of Gondor, very good white common. I'm thinking about taking that. I don't really want to take Stew. I don't really want this black card or this red card. They're both playable, but they're not cards I actively want to have in my deck. Okay, so here, I'm going to take Rally at the Hornburg. This card is the strongest red 2-drop in the format. And it's a common. There was an uncommon earlier that I meant to mention this card about that I just forgot. There's this uncommon. It's a Hill Giant. I've forgotten what its name is. I didn't take it, but that Hill Giant says whenever a human enters the battlefield and you control, all your creatures get +1/+1 to end of turn, and you really want to pair that with this card. And if we had had a copy of Rally, I would have kind of probably slammed that Hill Giant, but because we didn't, I wanted to hedge a little bit. Here we're going to take a second Rally, and I'm done. I'm tired of staying open. We are drafting black-red. Then we're faced with this pack, which has an Eagles and some medium cards and a gold card. I think I just want to take the Eagles. The Eagles might, like, help me splash something. Not really sure what I would want to splash at this point, but you don't have to decide. This is only pack 2. I'll take a red card. I want to be fairly careful because I have been doing a poor job of committing to a lane. I want to be really careful that I end up with enough playables, because I only really have 11 here, and that's it's not a great place to be. Gimli's Fury, definitely, I guess, a playable card. Like, it's not a terrible thing to have around, but it's just not good, and I'm not sure I've ever played it. But it's also just like a combat trick, and this format is friendly to combat tricks. It'll be not the end of the world. Here we got Claim the Precious. We got a little Sorcery Speed Murder, plus the Ring Tempts You. I haven't seen the Ring Tempting cards in a while, but that would be number 4, so we're getting up there. March the Blackgate, also quite good on common, but we're totally good for 2s. We got our early game locked up. We're looking for 3s and 4s. So I'm just going to take this Claim the Precious because we just have no hard removal, and we'll figure out the rest later. Here, this guy is a good white rare, and if I had had the guts to start taking white cards earlier, I would kind of slam that, and I think I would be pretty happy about it. Instead, I have to take, I suppose, one of these 2 black cards. We keep seeing this red card, just not playable card. I'm going to take Easterling Vanguard, but I'm a little bit wary because I am kind of stacking up this 1 and 2s pile. But the alternative is another Desperate Rescue, and I already have 1, and that card also kind of gets worse when you don't have big things, so we'll be fine. In this pack, we're going to take Torment of Gaul. This is one of those like premium black commons. It's better than it looks, partly because of the blue Estus Scatter, which is just one of the best blue commons in the format, partly because there's all these random legendaries and you want to just kind of not have to worry about these weird effects. You just want to see their hand. It's very strong. We're passing the Lash to the Balrog, which is definitely something I would love to have in my deck, but so it goes. We're passing it. We'll be fine. I would definitely like some more removal. I'm going to take a Troll here over a Shelob's Ambush. Basically, I will just take as many land cyclers as I can get. And my only really qualm with them in this deck is that we are short on playables, and if you get enough of these, they start taking up land slots. This pack, I'm going to take a War Beast of Gargaroth, not a spectacular card, but clearly the best card in the colors. Here we're going to take a Battle-Scarred Goblin. This curve is really, really low, and I'm quite upset that I have all this low curve, and I don't have either 3 drops to back it up, and I also don't have Improvised Club to back it up. So we're going to have these good cards, but end up with like a terrible curve shape because of this 3-drop slot being empty. Part of that's my fault because I was just, you know, not being responsible and picking a lane early in the draft. I just saw all these weird cards. Partly, the thing that's responsible is just this color pair is not very open. And maybe I shouldn't be drafting it. I don't know. We are at 19 cards, so that's not very good. What am I going to do after this point? Definitely we can play, like, Gibbon's Axe. I think we're going to have to play Eagles and splash some white cards. Can splash Landrevolve. Don't really want to splash 2s, especially because we already have 2s. Landrevolve is worth splashing. Protector of Gondor, I guess we can play that because that fits pretty well on the curve. I think Stalwarts is also... Well, it's better to splash than the 2-drop, so I'm going to take the Stalwarts. Hobbit Sting. We can splash Hobbit Sting. Okay, so this is going to be one of those drafts where things didn't really go right. This is, you can call this one a train wreck, where I kind of wanted to be a 2-color deck, but I just waited so long before picking which 2 colors that I ran out of choices. So that's you know, that's on me, but also that's how the draft goes sometimes. If you really want to, the reason why I stayed open this long is because it's important in this format to identify the open colors and get in there, and I couldn't identify the open colors, and that's why this happened to me. So we're going to play, I think, these cards. We're going to play we got the Hobbit Sting. We are not going to play this many lands. That is a lot of lands. We've got like 4 land cyclers, so actually I can cut 2 lands, and then we're going to play this card and a Gimli's Fury. And that's the deck. Yep, that's the deck. There we go. Let's move on, and we'll start playing matches. Let's see how this goes. I'm not very excited about this deck, but sometimes this just sometimes when you draft it doesn't work out, and part of being good at a format is not just learning how to play with the really, really good decks, but it's also knowing what to do when your draft goes poorly and trying to salvage some wins. I think this deck is, well, it's definitely not good. It is definitely not that bad, and let's see if we can kind of cheat some opponents out of some wins here. I really, really do wish I had some improvised clubs though, because it is going to be really awkward playing a bunch of small things and then having to pause while we wait for our 5s and 6s to come online. That's just going to be super, super annoying. Alright, opponent does nothing on turn 2. Probably they're holding up Glorious Gale, the Essence Scatter. We have a card that is very good against Glorious Gale. We've got Tormented Golem. So let's play this. Let's see if they got Glorious Gale in there. No, they don't. Okay, they have Protector of Gondor. And they have a removal spell that only works if they have a legend, which they don't have. And they have this thing, which is a removal spell. So we're going to take the 4-drop because they're about to get to turn 4 when they want to play the 4-drop. And now they can't do it. they can play the removal spell, but they're like, I don't want to use my removal spell on your 2/2, so they're not using it, and they're getting punished. Oh, Gandalf. That would be pretty good if I didn't have Gimli's Fury and also Shalob's Ambush. Like, don't let this trick you into being an advertisement for Gimli's Fury. Shalob's Ambush would have just been better there, and the fact that it's so much better that I'm not casting it, I want to save the ambush for when it will be better. If I'm allowed to draw an untapped land, I will just cast Troll. If not, I will cast Firebrand. So Ring Tempting is really interesting mechanic. Maybe interesting is the wrong word, but if it's the wrong word, I'm not really sure what the right word is. So there's a few things going on with the Ring Tempting. First of all, let's just make sure you know what the text does. First level, so whenever you tempt, you choose a creature, and then you also get to move on to the next level. There are only 4 levels, and levels are cumulative. Once you get them, you have them for the entirety of the game. And so the first level gives you Skulk, the next level gives you Looting when you attack, the third level lets you gives you like a counter death touch, and the fourth level deals 3 damage to your opponent extra when your ring bearer hits them in the face. So there's some very interesting things that happen in this. The most important level is the second level, because you really want to be looting in the late game. And there are some quite interesting tensions that this mechanic brings about, even though I hesitate to call the mechanic interesting as a whole, because it is kind of odd in some ways. So one tension is, well, we're not going to see it here because we only have 1 tempt, but we've got the second tempt here. And because we can't play it, because, well, actually we could play it. We could just go cycle the Troll and then get it back, and then we could start looting that way. But, well, I've just had enough, which is very funny, but, you know, that also happens. So, as I was saying, there are a few interesting points of tension for the Ring Tempts you as a mechanic. One point of tension is that sometimes you will just want to play the card that says the Ring Tempts you without having use for the temptation. And that creates some actually really interesting moments where the thing you want to do is you want to have your looter on the battlefield, and then your opponent is going to have to kill it because your looter is really good, and then you want to have another one as backup. But if the Ring Tempting you card is burning a hole in your pocket, and you're like, I can't cast this because I really want to save this temptation in case my opponent kills my ring bearer, well, there's some tension there, and sometimes that creates interesting decisions. There's also quite a bit of tension between, well, I think the looting as a mechanic and the land cyclers being this major player in the format. I think that part is mostly pretty good, where the ring bearers will let you loot, so they give you fixing, but only if you're kind of already ahead. Basically, you have to have a profitable attack. You have to be able to race, where if your opponent is like, either if they clogged up the board, or if they attack you and you need to block, then you're not going to be able to do that. Or, I guess, if you also haven't cast enough spells, you might not be able to do it that way either. And so you end up with situations where you're not sure what to do. Here, I think I've got this like rescue. I could rescue the Troll and then try to cycle the Troll, but I figure I can just do that next turn. And if I'm drawing like a 1 land, I won't want to cycle the Troll. And I'm kind of looking for a spot that might like actually help me with this ring tempting me. Again, sometimes you just want to surprise them. Maybe that would encourage them to play like a 3-drop, and then I can get my 3-drop past them. But it doesn't seem like that's very relevant. It doesn't seem like that's what's happening here. I am going to... what does this do? I can sack this to make a treasure. I don't think I want to do that. That seems weird. So these cyclers, in some sense, kind of play nicely, kind of, with the ring bearers, where what they encourage you to do is they say, you know, if you don't have the rings, then you can have your consistency mechanic anyways. But they're not all good, because what they don't have is, let's say you have both of them. If your if you're looting a lot, then what you want to do is you want to kind of not draw too many lands, and you often end up situations like this, where I've got like exactly 5 lands and a cycler in my hand that costs 6. And so I can't really use my cycler because I don't have anything to cycle into. But if I draw another land, well, I'm going to want to discard my land. And that's just a really odd experience, it feels like, to me at least, where you have these cards that are ostensibly filling similar roles, but they're just pulling you in such dramatically different directions. So we are going to get, at this point, the second ring tempting me, and that is going to let me attack with my 2/2 past their 4/3. And I could sack this to draw a card, but I kind of like looting, so we're just gonna keep it around. I have not played a lot of this Stalwarts card, but this deck really needs something in white to play that's not a 2-drop, and Stalwarts will do just fine. I suppose it's worth pointing out that while I don't like the deck in the sense that I wish I had more, I wish I had a consistent curve, like I wish I had any 3-drops, where there are some especially quite powerful 3-drops at common. I also like remember this point earlier in the draft where there was like the Spearmaster, that like 30 mana 2/3, and I was like, oh, but I don't want to play Spearmaster because I quite often cut the Spearmaster from my black-red decks. But then I just ended up with this deck that would really want Spearmaster. And in fact, I ended up with that having to splash specifically because I didn't go out of my way to take things like that Spearmaster. So there's definitely a lesson there. I believe I'm supposed to attack with, I guess everything here. I'm just gonna jam here. If they want to trade like the 4/3 and the 1/1, for the Stalwarts, and then let this guy hit them, I think I'm okay with that. I just want to keep looting. And it's also quite possible they will just be wanting to double block this 2/2. Both of those seem like reasonable options. Yeah, okay, so you're allowed to do that. Do you have a trick? No, no trick. Here's another interesting point of tension where Haunt of Dead Marshes really want something else to be the ring bearer, but also you really want to put the ring on your 1/1s. And so when you have Haunt and the ring temps, it can be really awkward because part of you is really caring about, I want to get my looting effect on this 1/1 that's going to have Skulk and not be blockable. And part of you is like, I really want to just like chump with this Haunt. Alright, opponent's got Witch King of Angmar. I was thinking I was ready to be real far ahead here, but I think we might have stabilized this board. Maybe not, though. Maybe not. It's possible not. I draw a double black card, and I regret discarding these swamps instead of this 3rd mountain. So if we attack here, we're going to be able to attack with, this says 6 power trample. We can give trample to this guy, so that's going to be 14 power trample. So if we attack with everything, they can chump one of these, take 2, and then put 6 toughness in front of the 14 power of trample, and they're taking 8. So if they're taking, yeah, so if they're taking 14 minus 6 is 8, plus 2, that should be lethal. So let me just turn a golem to make sure there's not some 1 mana trick. There is actually a 1 mana like first strike trick that would do it here. That would successfully interrupt me. And take that out of the way. Don't need that. And let's hope I counted right. It'd be very embarrassing if I counted wrong, but I think things are under control here. I'm gonna take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Move to damage. Yeah, you can make it indestructible. You can't actually do that. Nope, you're 0. Sweet. Two and 0. Nice. All right, look at this hand. Is this good? It's got 2/2 drops. That is one way to kind of make up for not having enough threes. You just play a 2 on turn 2, and then 2 plus 1 on turn 3. Frodo. Okay, that's a powerful card. We're going to kill Frodo. Frodo has an ability. Pay 2 mana, turn it into a 2/3. I don't want them turning into a 2/3 because then I can't shock it. So we have to kill it there instead of doing the thing I wanted to do. Having this elephant in this hand is kind of funny because I'm kind of tempted to not cycle it. I got 4 lands. What am I doing with a 6th land? A 5th land? Not much really. So maybe I'll just draw more lands naturally. Opponent's got a delighted halfling off of their elven parasite. Gets to blockade these 1/1s, and you know, I'm not really upset about that. I kind of just knew that was going to happen. That's the thing that happens. Rally is good specifically. Oh no. All right, we're gonna have to show you this card here. So Farmir creates a delayed trigger. And it says basically if I attack them, they get to make 3 1/1s. If I didn't attack them, they get to draw a card. So obviously making 3 1/1s is better for the opponent in the large majority of cases than drawing a card. So I have to just not attack the opponent. Unless I have a way to, take advantage of being able to push damage. And I really just need to kill Farmir because it's just a Sorrel's Packmate there, but because I didn't kill it, it's gonna survive and draw another card every turn. And I don't like losing to this kind of a mess here. This makes me not feel so great with the 3-color no fixing, but we're playing the no removal deck, so we can't talk. Opponent plays Farmir, we're supposed to have an answer for it, and we don't, so we 100% deserve this. We're gonna have to draw. Maybe I should have gone rescue for a troll, because we're gonna have to draw Claim the Precious is probably the only real answer. That's probably what I should have done. I've been thinking about, like, in my mind, I've got, like, there's a 3 mana deal 3 common Smite the Deathless. I'm like, that's what I want to draw, but that isn't in the deck, so I ain't drawing that. Hobbit Sting, actually. That card would be a pretty good draw. And opponent's got Iron on the battlefield, which is a really interesting card to take note of, because this is like a powerful effect, but like green-blue is such a bad color pair that it's just, it's not a card that really gets to shine very much, except in these kind of multicolored green piles. Another basically the reason why green blue is not good is because, first of all, there's a whole bunch of insular, like, cares about scry stuff, which prevents you from, like, staying open as, like, I'm an open blue deck or an open green deck, and you get into it, because this card is just not playable in. And same thing with this. These scry cards are just not playable in any green deck. They're only playable in this specific green deck. And secondly, blue really wants to be like a spells deck, and green just forces you to be a creature deck because there aren't a ton of good green spells. Like, even the spell that they played here, this Elven Fireside, that's a good green spell, but it only works if you have enough creatures in your deck, otherwise it's terrible. So they're just, green and blue in this set, they're just not meant to go together. It's very silly. But if you've got, like, fixing, and I wanted to call this no fixing because they don't have any fixing lands, but delayed halfling, that's fixing. So that would be a little mean. Oh goodness, there's just nothing we can do here, really. We're just gonna get run over. It's unfortunate. Maybe I shouldn't have even played the Mines of Moria because I don't have an improvised club in my deck. There we go. There's the lands. 1 mana of any color among legendary creatures in your graveyard. Yeah, so we're gonna die, but I do have quite a bit of respect for the multicolor green decks, like, in general, but, like, I'm very afraid to draft them because I worry it's gonna go poorly for me if I try. So I don't allow myself to draft them, but I do lose to them occasionally. I just don't see, like, the necessary pieces going around very late. Probably because I value the black cards over them, and I just end up in black all the time. All right, I don't want to play this game. this is just kind of pointless. I'm just conceding. 2-1. Let's try again. All right, let's look at this hand here. So one thing that jumps out at me about this hand is we do not have any 2-drops. We got a ton of 2-drops in this deck. We also don't have mountains, but we've actually got 2 good 4s, and we're on the draw. And I think that is worth keeping just for the 4s. Definitely could go badly. For example, we could not draw land, but I think this deck just doesn't have enough 4s, and being able to have something like this to draw into sounds pretty good to me. Alright, there's a land, so we'll probably just be fine then. The opponent is on red-white aggro, but they don't have a 3-drop pre-combat. They don't have any 3-drop, and that's good for me. Okay. Alright, both me and opponent doing great. Red-white is, like, usually a really aggressive deck, but I'm just seeing nothing fancy over there. Maybe opponent's just all removal, or maybe they have a bad hand, one or the other. Do I want to cast Torment of Golem here, or do I want to cast Protector of Gondor? So a reason to cast Torment of Golem is because, well, first of all, they could have a... Yeah, I should probably cast this in case they have, like, a 5-cost bomb, and that's why they're keeping their hand. This is also a lot better if they have Smite the Deathless in particular. Oh, we got reprieved. Okay, well, so there's the white remand. So it didn't matter. Didn't matter which thing I did. And, okay, they did have a 5-drop bomb. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Problem. Uh-oh. Oh, no. What's this? Well, that's not good. We're going to play here the Protector of Gondor and try to Shelob ambush somebody. Hopefully that works. It definitely may not work. Eowyn is just a 3-4. Shadowfax is... oh dear. That's exactly the kind of thing I was trying to Torment of Golem away. Are you getting anything off Shadowfax trigger? Oh, we are getting... Oh, man. Look at this shit. Okay, so I can double block Eowyn. I could put Protector of Gondor in front of Shadowfax and ambush it. I think not using the ambush would just be kind of silly. Okay. That wasn't quite what I wanted to draw. So maybe I didn't think this through, where, like... Well, no, I'm not really sure I have a good answer. So the thing that I really need is I really need to kill the elephant, because the elephant is representing a whole lot of trample damage. But I can't, well, I was hoping I would draw my, like, 1 Claim the Precious. Hot Sting is almost an answer to it, except I'm short by just, like, 1 creature. I can definitely put enough things in front of the elephant to kill it, but the problem is I'm at 3, so if they're attacking for 11 points of trample, I'm just dead. Okay, so I don't think I can win this game. There's no way I could possibly survive an attack, so I'm just going to cast Torment of Golem, look at their hand, and concede. That's a rough way to go out. That's unfortunate, but I guess really the thing that got us there is the lack of a 3, although we should have had 2-drop. If we didn't take, like, 6 damage from there, too, we probably would have been in much better shape. Also, lack of removal. Not great when the opponent manages to stick a elephant. Not great. Those land cyclers, by the way, look at that land cycler doing work. They got flooded, they just didn't eat cycle it, and played 5 and a 6, and the game was over. Very rough for me. I am gonna probably keep this hand. This is another hand that doesn't have a... You know what, I am gonna mulligan this. It doesn't have a 2, but it's also like got multiple white cards and no white mana. There's too much wrong with this hand. Hobbit Sting and Land Roll. But we can keep this one. I'm gonna get rid of Land Roll. I think this deck really needs the removal. Might actually really appreciate having the Sting. I don't mind at all getting more 2-drops. I like 2-drops. I'll play Rally first as usual, simply because these are the least affected by removal and the most likely to get outclassed later. I can attack here, just like Gimli Fury. I think that's what I want to do. Would you like to get Gimli's Furied? Okay, guess we can do that. Guess we can do that. The Gimli's Fury is just gonna get worse later, so I just want to get it. I want to get it out of my hand now. While I know I'm not gonna get hit by a removal spell in response. That is not what I want to play against. Dharma Golem's good. Not much more that needs to be said in the Axis. They're probably going to take the Sting. So I can't really attack here profitably. So I just get to play the 2 and the other 2 and then pass the turn. And opponent has stabilized and we are very probably dead. But let's see if the opponent can kind of assemble something. They got a Trebuchet, so this card is not spectacular. Doesn't really do very much here. Got a Troll, so we could go like cycle the Troll and then rescue. But that doesn't really get me all that far either. I can start attacking with these 2/2s, maybe try to trade. I think I would... Yeah, I'll attack with these, because if the opponent wants to attack me with their 2/2, I will trade my 1/1s for it. Be happy if they have a trick. Bowmasters. Now wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're not supposed to have a good rare. That's... You're not supposed to have that. Alright, I think I know what I have to do here. I have to cycle this Troll. And the reason I have to cycle this is because I want to have something large. And I don't think that there's really any chance of winning this game other than playing this Troll and attacking. So we're going to get the 5th land onto the battlefield, and nope, we lost the Troll. Okay, so that was like a reason to not do this. But it also, I suppose, didn't matter that much. So if we had not played that, then they would have probably taken the Desperate Rescue and would be stuck with the Troll in hand and only 4 lands, which that wouldn't be the worst. We can totally trade for that. Okay, I can deal with Protector of Gondor. Bowmaster is just... That's the kind of card. And Build the Pony too. Build the Pony is really good. It kind of like turns it itself as a 4/4. It can turn this Trebuchet into a 4/4 for a turn. Ooh, wait, that was actually a really good draw. That was, so we put that at the bottom at the beginning of the game, right? But then, right, we put that at the beginning, kept the Hobbit Sting. But then because we shuffled Troll and we got draw, this is really good because this allows me to like actually attack in the air. Normally like a ring tempting would be good at this point in the game, but it's not here because they have this Bowmasters. So if we're looting, then we're just gonna lose all these 1/1s. That would be terrible. So we gotta kill Bowmasters first. So I guess that means the thing I want to draw is Ranger's Firebrand. But man, this is pretty miserable. There's not much I can do here. I don't have a lot of agency against this kind of opposition. I can... No, I'm just taking the damage. Grand is going to be difficult to remove, and we're probably just going to have to play this troll and trade for it. That wasn't a terrible draw. That's acceptable. We can have this troll. I can put Grand and never mind. Never mind. Troll is not going to be blocking anybody. And yeah. I think I'm going to start trading away some 1/1s. But this is pretty hopeless. Okay, well, so what do I have in conclusion here? So you've been seeing I've been playing really fast, and there are a lot of intricate decisions that happen in this format. Most of them are related either to the blue control decks or related to the ring tempting you, neither of which have really come up at all in this draft. The ring just hasn't tempted me enough to get to make decisions on that part. Partly because the ring tempting cards are good, and the draft's medium, so we didn't get very many of them at all. And the other thing that we're missing is, well, you know, things just happen. There are good cards, and if I don't have removal, I don't get to make the choice of do I play my good card or do I remove theirs. So I'm playing real fast because there's not much to do. Anyways, this deck has gone poorly, but thanks for watching. I hope you learned something about the format. I'll see you next time.